It's Friday night, August 1st, 2025. Good evening and welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. This is Spathon and it's time to plunge into the swamp. It's officially August, the month of the tariffs. So we'll have a look at the tariffs and the countries in detail. Also, NASA's SpaceX Crew 11 successfully launched from Cape Canaveral this morning, and they're currently headed toward the International Space Station. Also, more colleges are rolling back on their policy regarding men and women's sports. And Vice President Vance calls on increased law enforcement after the mob attack in Cincinnati. The new CDC director was sworn in today, Susan Monarez, the director of the CDC. Also, CBP at the Port of Houston just seized a shitload of guns and ammo bound for countries like Honduras. We'll also take a look at the US Census Bureau's report on the amount of construction money the federal government is spending this year. It's a crazy number. Also, FBI Director Kash Patel announced that more information is coming regarding the Russia hoax scandal. And, of course, Democrats are pissed off because President Trump was removed from the Smithsonian's impeachment exhibit. And there's plenty more to dig through, so we're going to dive right in. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I might read your comment on the next episode if you drop one. And also, just a quick comment. Hopefully, I fixed the occasional crackling noise on the microphone. I did adjust some levels yesterday, which did not fix the issue. It kind of screwed up my sound levels, so I fixed that. And I replaced a cable, so I'm also trying a different port on my computer. So hopefully that gets rid of it. And I guess I'll just have to see. I also just got a pop filter for my microphone. Those things are a pain in the ass, man. I can't stand these things already. It's going to take some getting used to. So I don't know. I'm just going to have to deal with it because I could hear when I enunciate my P's and other letters, my pronunciation of words, I can just hear it in the microphone. So I figured a pop filter might help get rid of it. I mean, that's what those things are used for, right? So anyway, let's just dive right in. So this is from the White House, the art of the trade deal. And they shared an image of an article on the Daily Wire, Trump's art of the trade deal. Here are the countries that have reached agreements with America. So I'm going to, no, I don't want to click on the freaking image. I want to check out the link because for some reason they decided to drop the link way down here, down in the comments. I did notice that other comment. Trump is a genius. $150 billion in tariff revenues. I love American news. All right. So let's see. We're going to get into this article because they list a whole bunch of countries and how much they're going to be paying in tariffs. So let's read into it here. So as President Donald Trump's August 1st deadline for imposing tariffs on countries across the globe nears, his administration has been busy negotiating and announcing new trade deals. Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, which were initially supposed to go into effect in April, were delayed until the beginning of August, giving America's trade partners and the president's trade team more time to come to a negotiating table and hash out deals. The deadline extension paid off for some countries that have secured lower tariff rates than those Trump initially announced. The deals have also resulted in promises of investments worth hundreds of billions of dollars in the U.S. economy over the next few years. I mean, just South Korea alone, man, they announced that they're going to be investing hundreds of billions of dollars into the U.S. economy, which is fucking awesome, man. Not to mention Japan and the EU and some others, but I'm sure that they'll mention some of that also down here in this article. So here are the countries that have worked out a deal with Trump. First with the UK. And let's see, they announced the trade agreement on May the 8th, giving the United States more access to the British market while boosting both nations' industrial bases and steel industries. So the UK will still pay a 10% tariff on most goods exported to the United States. The deal will also allow the UK to export up to 100,000 vehicles to the U.S. for a 10% tariff and export Rolls-Royce engines and airplane parts to the U.S. tariff-free. So the UK promised to purchase $10 billion worth of Boeing airplanes from the U.S. I mean, that I don't see how that really benefits the taxpayers. I mean, it's going to benefit Boeing. That's for damn sure. So also the European Union. Let's see. The European Union is going to pay a straight across 15% tariff for most of their exports, including vehicles. The 15% rate is a major cut to the 30% tariff that the 27-member bloc was facing from Trump's initial announcement in April. The European Union also agreed to purchase $750 billion worth of energy from the U.S. Holy shit. And invest an additional $600 billion in the U.S. economy. That's still kind of up in the air because according to a couple of posts that I read this week, there's a couple of countries at a minimum in the EU that basically they say, no, you can't do that. You can't just invest $600 billion into the economy. So I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. But that one might arguably still be up in the air. So also with Japan, more than $500 billion in investments with the United States while paying a 15% reciprocal tariff to export goods to America, which is lower than the original 25% tariff that Trump planned. Let's see. Japanese auto exports, the rate will be down to 15%. The most important part of the deal was Japan agreeing to open its markets to American-made vehicles, rice, and agricultural products. Did you know the U.S. grows rice? We do. We actually do grow rice. I learned that earlier this year. I don't know why. For some reason, I had no idea that we grew rice, but we do. Let's see. Pakistan. On Wednesday, Trump announced a deal with Pakistan involving the country's massive oil reserves and lowering the tariff rate that he planned to impose. They don't give a percentage for some reason. But anyway, let's move on to Indonesia. So Trump revealed details of a major trade deal with Indonesia, the fourth most populous nation in the world. According to Trump, the agreement wipes out 99% of Indonesia's trade barriers. So they are opening that country the floodgates to the United States, which, of course, that's going to be great news. I think most notably, it's going to be a huge godsend for the textile industry, the cotton industry. I think that benefits Texas in a big way. I mean, obviously the Southeast too, with regard to cotton. But anyway, so the United States will pay no tariff to export products to the Southeast Asian country, which is crazy, man. Good news for us. While Indonesia, they're going to pay a 19% tariff on goods that it sends to the United States. We are killing it, man. Trump made some amazing deals. That's for damn sure. But Indonesia, they're paying a 19% tariff on products. The Trump administration official told reporters that products made in Indonesia containing a certain percentage of materials from non-market economies such as Russia, China, Vietnam will be hit with a 40% tariff. And we all know that China, they like to be sneaky with that shit because they tried to pull that with Vietnam earlier this year when Trump was ratcheting up their tariffs up to 135, 145%. So China thought they'd be sneaky and start shipping products to Vietnam. And once they arrived in Vietnam, then Vietnam factories would slap the Made in Vietnam sticker, even though the products were made in China. Basically a bait and switch or a repackaging scheme that they were doing, which that was quickly found out about. And Trump threatened to skyrocket tariffs against Vietnam if they didn't stop doing that, which they did. So from South Korea, let's see, South Korea, they're going to give to the United States $350 billion for investments owned and controlled by the United States and select by myself as president, as Trump said. Let's see. South Korea also agreed to purchase $100 billion worth of American energy products. Man, we are dishing out our energy everywhere, just as long as we got enough energy here at home, because we're definitely going to need it for all this AI stuff we're building. Let's see. South Korea markets will be completely open to trade with the United States, while South Korea will pay a 15% tariff to gain access to U.S. markets. The 15% rate is lower than the 25% tariff that Trump had initially planned to impose on South Korea. Dude, it's the art of the deal. This is the art of the deal in real life. You drop the bomb, and then you soften the blow. The bomb is the 25% tariff, and then you soften it up at 15%, which I'm sure Trump knows. Well, yeah, of course Trump knows, but I think a lot of us know that Trump was going to go for 15% the entire time. You got to go in heavy, so then that way that South Korea, they think they're getting a good deal at 15% because Trump was insisting on 25 at first. The art of the deal. That is our president. Let's see, Vietnam. At the beginning of July, Vietnam reached a preliminary agreement with the Trump admin to open up its markets, pay a 20% tariff on exports. But Vietnam, they at first were going to be stuck with 46% in Trump's first announcement for transshipped goods. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. Products that are channeled through Vietnam by countries like China to circumvent trade restrictions. They were doing that earlier this year, and they got caught. So that's good news for Vietnam and the Philippines. Let's see, they're going to pay a 19% tariff to gain access to U.S. markets, while American goods will enter the Philippines tariff-free. Gotta love free. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one. It's a lot to read. It's a really long article, so I'm just trying to give the cliff notes as I'm reading it. I have to comb through a lot of stuff throughout the day. I think I settled on 35 or 36 different points in total, different posts, articles, video clips, and whatnot. So I don't really have time to read everything that I'm going over until I got it in front of me right now. But anyway, so Thailand, they faced a 36% tariff, but specifics were not provided, at least not yet. So maybe we'll find that out at some point this month, because there are some tariffs that they're not rolling out today exactly. Like there's a lot that are going into effect on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, of this month. So we'll just have to see. Cambodia, let's see. They reached a trade deal with Trump following its ceasefire agreement with Thailand, and they also faced a 36% tariff under the announcement. Of course, we don't have the percentage yet. I don't know. I'm assuming anywhere between, 15% to 25%, maybe 25%, somewhere around there. But there's still 3 big U.S. trading partners that have yet to reach an agreement, one being China. They moved the date to August 12th as we continue to negotiate, so we'll see. I highly doubt it's probably going to happen. Well, on China's part, I think they're just going to try to stonewall as long as humanly possible. They're just going to keep playing those dirty games like, no, just 7 more days. And then we'll give them another 7 days. Oh, yeah, well, 5 days. Come on, let 5. No, come on, dude. Shit or get off the pot. What the fuck's it going to be? I think we should just keep it at 145%, man. We got to cut China off. This shit's getting dangerous in this trade war, especially with the whole AI thing going on and all these rare earth minerals that we depend on China for. And then we found out during the COVID era that they were manufacturing a shitload of our pharmaceuticals, which apparently nobody knew about, which is absolutely fucking insane. Let's see. So the U.S. and China traded reciprocal tariff blows before agreeing to make a walk back from the triple-digit tariff rates. That was crazy. That was absolutely wild, man, when that was going on. I had some popcorn and everything. So exports surging in June. Let's see. He's going to be briefed on the China trade talks on Thursday, sitting down with Bessent and U.S. Trade Rep Jameson Greer, which, according to CNN, but come on, man. It's fucking CNN. Let's see. So they extended the August 12th deadline. Not 100% done. Probably won't be on August 12th either. Whatever happened to the TikTok thing? I mean, is that all wrapped up together? Or I thought the whole TikTok deadline was over with. I thought it was over with like a month ago. Maybe they extended it again. Who knows? They're not going to let TikTok go. It's not going to happen. So if anybody thinks that China's going to let that go, no, they're not. Well, ByteDance owns it. China doesn't own. Yeah, well, the CCP basically owns ByteDance, which started TikTok. Matter of fact, China, well, ByteDance, they are already working on TikTok 2.0. I can't remember the name of it, but they're working on it right now, and they're ready to roll it out in an attempt to drag a ton of Americans over to this new platform after they sell TikTok. So they've already got plan B in their pocket if they were to sell TikTok. But I don't know, man. TikTok gives China access to 150 million Americans directly through social media. So that's one hell of a powerful weapon that China wields over the public, which is why you shouldn't use TikTok. You're just feeding the enemy your own private information. Don't do that. Come on, don't do that. All right, so let's move on. Canada, America's neighbor to the north, has yet to come to terms with the Trump administration, and President Trump said on Thursday morning that Canada's announcement that it intends to back a Palestinian state, quote, will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal, end quote. So the tariff rate on many Canadian goods is set to rise to 35% if no trade deal is reached. That, frankly, is kind of scary. I would say probably more so than any of the other ones, maybe besides China. And I say that mainly because most of our timber, an extremely high amount of our timber comes from Canada. So they're going to slap a 35% tariff on all timber. So housing, we all know where housing's at. The average house is almost $400,000 in the United States, average. So with the cost of lumber going up with a 35% tariff, that's not going to help the housing market at all. So that's a little nerve-wracking in my opinion. That'd be nice if Trump were to make an exemption for timber so we could try to get more houses built, because our rate of building new houses, new properties, buildings, condos, townhomes, it's been pretty far down, like going all the way back to 2008, really. So anyway, so from Mexico, Trump announced on Thursday that he would again extend the deadline for imposing 30% tariffs on Mexico for another 90 days. So I'll just read this out. The complexities of a deal with Mexico are somewhat different than other nations because of both the problems and assets of the border. And let's see, the president said after talking to Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum over the phone, during the extension, Mexico will continue to pay a 25% fentanyl tariff and 25% tariff on cars and a 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and copper. So the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said on Thursday, not Leavitt, Leavitt. I kept saying Leavitt for some reason. I don't know. Like I said, I've said it a million times. I'm bad with names. I'm horrible with names, which is kind of ironic because, my name, nobody can pronounce my name either. I mean, like my name in real life. It's whatever. It's a crazy name. But anyway, so Caroline Leavitt said on Thursday that countries have not reached a deal with Trump. We'll be hearing from this administration by the midnight deadline tonight. Tomorrow, August 1st, the reciprocal rates will be going into effect, she added. If more deals are cut between now and midnight, I will never count out the president. You've seen him do it before. Yeah, and we'll probably see him do it again because I'm sure other countries are going to head to the table or probably in the process of doing so right now. What was one of those countries? Switzerland, maybe? I can't remember which one of those countries. I know it was in Europe. But apparently they were scrambling with only just a couple hours left until the deadline to try to get a deal done. So I don't know if that actually ended up working out for them or not. Not sure. But anyway, that article I'll link in the description. I link everything in the description, anything that I click on. So that's that. So let's head back to the list here. Secretary Chris Wright. Dude, I wish there was a way I could disable that, mousing over that, because that irritates me. Anyway, so in the 4 years of the Biden administration, the amount of electricity the U.S. produced was less than a 2% change, just 2%. We saw almost no growth in electricity production, yet prices went up 25%. Thanks to President Trump, energy subtraction is over. And yeah, under the Biden administration, just renewable energy alone, quote unquote renewable energy, the Biden administration spent $100 billion on renewable energy during the Biden administration, which is enough to build 16 nuclear power plants, each producing 1 gigawatt. What is that a gigawatt nuclear power plant. They could have built 16 of those for $100 billion. And I'm sure that would have put out a hell of a lot more electricity than this renewable energy bullshit. And California, they announced earlier, February of this year, that they were shutting down the largest solar farm in the entire state of California because operation costs are too much. So how do you like that? They're dumping money into shit that we're not benefiting from in any way, shape, or form, especially with prices going up 25%. Are you fucking kidding me? It's absolutely crazy. So let's move on to the Department of Agriculture. Secretary Rollins just announced USDA's intent to purchase up to $230 million in local food purchases through Section 32 funds. This is cool. I think they're going to be stocking food pantries, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, maybe they've got some food stockpile that they for like FEMA or whatnot, disaster relief. I'm assuming that's probably what they're also going to be using it for. So let's see here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. Y'all read that? Yeah, I think we're good here. I try to make everything a little bit bigger because a lot of people watch YouTube on their smartphones. So if you want to read along, I want to at least make it legible for you. I can see just fine. My vision's great. My vision's absolutely perfect close up. I just want to make it sizable for the screen for your viewing pleasure. So this came out Washington, D.C. today, August 1st, 2025. U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke L. Rollins today announced the U.S. Department of Agriculture's USDA intent to purchase up to $230 million in fresh seafood, fruits, and vegetables from American farmers and producers to distribute to food banks and nutrition assistance programs across the country. These purchases are being made through Section 32 of the Agriculture Act of 1935 and will assist producers and communities in need. So that's cool, man. They're going all the way back to an act that was put into law during the Great Depression. So, I mean, it sounds kind of ominous if you put it that way. But Anyway, fiscal year to date, USDA has provided more than $924 million in purchases, all of which benefit the charitable feeding network. This is one of many actions USDA has taken to support smaller-scale family farmers and producers. The Trump administration is working to increase America's economic prosperity, and that includes the success of our farmers and ranchers. Plenty more to read through there. Let's see here. So USDA AMS, they're going to purchase $230 million from the following. Alaska Pollock, $100 million. Dried cranberries, $25 million. Dried beans, $50 million. Black pinto kidney, so on and so forth. Let's see. Farm-raised catfish, $20 million worth of catfish. I love me some catfish, man. I mean, I live in the South. Of course I love catfish. And also fresh apples, $35 million. Which apples, I mean, how fresh are they really? I mean, I did read somewhere that the apples that you buy at the grocery store, they were picked a fucking year ago. Some crazy preservatives that they have in this GMO shit for most of the apples. See, that's why you got to buy your apples at a local farmer's market. I mean, maybe, probably even if you don't live in apple country, you'd probably have a better shot at getting a truly fresh apple as opposed to just one of your big box grocery stores. A year! That's absolutely crazy. I mean, look it up yourself. If I'm wrong, just let me know in the comments and I'll read your comment tomorrow. Or either tomorrow or on Monday. I'm still on the fence whether if I'm going to do this show over the weekend or not. I mean, I might get to a point where I might get a little burned out. I do have a full-time job, so, you know, there will be times that I'm going to actually have to run errands and stuff like that. So, anyway, I think I might just do kind of a hangout. I might end up doing live streams in the future. I've never done a live stream before, so I'm not sure. I'll just have to see how this goes over the coming weeks and see how things are. But probably tomorrow, I'll probably just hit the record button and just start digging through everything, as opposed to just on my own time. I scroll through all of these posts from our government, from our politicians, the high-ranking officials, basically the bureaucracy in total. I mean, I follow hundreds and hundreds of different departments and agencies and officials and politicians and all that. So maybe tomorrow, because I did that last Saturday. Last Saturday, I just hit the record button and I just scrolled through everything, just reading as I went. It was kind of fun. I grabbed a whole bunch of different shorts. For some reason, YouTube didn't upload them as shorts, though. It just uploaded as just regular videos, but they were short in length. They were like between 1 and 3-4 minutes. And I ended up grabbing like 10 of them. Anyway. So from Tammy Bruce, the State Department spokeswoman, Tommy Pigot, any demands for financial compensation from the United States to the Iranian regime are ridiculous. If the Iranian regime really wanted to save money, they would stop wasting money on their nuclear program. They would stop sending money to terrorist death squads across the region. They would stop oppressing their own people. And this actually comes with a video clip. Let me check my sound levels. Ooh, it's actually kind of low this time. Usually I got it damn near maxed out, ready to blow out some eardrums, but I think we're good, so let's give this a shot.
Well, what I can say is that any demands for financial compensation from the United States
Turn
to
up a
the
little
Iranian regime are ridiculous. If the Iranian regime really wanted to save money or alleviate some of the sanctions policy, they would stop taking destabilizing actions. They would stop wasting money on their nuclear program. They would stop sending money to terrorist death squads across the region. They would stop
There's not two U's in nuclear, dude.
So if they really
it's just
wanted
nuclear.
to save money or find a way towards prosperity for their people, they would start taking those actions. So any demands for financial compensation from the United States are ridiculous. But to stress, the United States is ready to talk with Iran. Iran has a short window of opportunity, but the ball is in Iran's court.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
So we're waiting to see what they do in terms of now it's in their court.
I have a funny feeling that Iran's kind of still a little bit pissed off about us sending our most badass planes that we have in our arsenal, the B-2s, and dropping bombs all over their nuclear facilities. But, yep, I don't know. We'll see. But he makes some good points there. All right, so Secretary Doug Burgum, by considering energy generation optimization, the Department of the Interior will be able to better manage our federal lands, minimize environmental impact, and maximize energy development to further the president's energy goals. This is from DOI, departmentofernergy.gov. And I already read the title, so I guess I don't have to read that again. So today, the U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, signed a secretary's order to more efficiently manage our nation's energy resources by permitting projects that optimize energy generation while minimizing their environmental impact. Massive unreliable energy projects, such as wind and solar, are inefficient uses of federal lands when compared to other energy sources with much smaller footprints like nuclear, gas, and coal. Absolutely. I am a huge advocate for nuclear. Nuclear is the way to go, especially with building up our AI infrastructure. We're in an arms race right now against China with regard to AI. And I think China kind of got a head start. And it's a bit ironic because China, they constantly steal our intellectual property on the regular. So most likely a lot of this AI stuff that they're building, they probably just stole from us in the first place, but they're building up quick. And they've been building up power plants like crazy too in the last 10, 15 years at a way faster rate than we have, which is so fucking stupid that the Democrats leaned completely on renewable energy, which is it's not going to be nearly good enough to handle an AI infrastructure. Meanwhile, China, they're building up coal plants. I think they're also building nuclear plants too. So as far as energy production or ramping it up, they're pretty far ahead of us. I don't think in total energy. I'm sure we probably produce more energy in total, but maybe we don't. I don't know. But anyway, with accordance with existing law and President Donald J. Trump's energy executive orders, the department will now consider proposed energy projects' capacity density when assessing the project's potential energy benefits to the nation and impacts to the environment and wildlife. This order directs the department to permit only energy projects that are the most appropriate use of federal land and resources. Quote, gargantuan, I haven't heard that word in a while, gargantuan, unreliable, intermittent energy projects hold America back from achieving U.S. energy dominance while weighing heavily on the American taxpayer and environment, said Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum. By considering energy generation optimization, the department will be able to better manage our federal lands, minimize environmental impact, and maximize energy development to further President Donald Trump's energy goals. This common sense order ensures our nation is stronger, our land use is optimized, and the American people are properly informed. So let's see. So based on the U.S. Energy Information Administration, one advanced nuclear plant, 2 times AP 1000, produces 33.17 megawatts per acre, while one offshore wind farm produces approximately 0.006 megawatts an acre, which is approximately 5,500 times less efficient than one nuclear plant. Absolutely ridiculous. It's insane. It's ridiculous. These stupid pet projects, man. It's appalling. It's extremely irritating. So I'm glad they're finally rolling that back. Wind turbines are not going to power the AI infrastructure that they're so desperately insisting that we build, that companies are investing hundreds of billions of dollars into. Anyway, so this is from NASA, man. Good news. This was fun. I watched this today. I watched it live. I watched it live. So 4 new crew members are on their way to the space station. It's going to take them a couple days to get there. But they're up in space now. They're on the way. NASA's SpaceX Crew 11 mission lifted off from NASA Kennedy at 11:43 a.m. Eastern Time, and they'll spend several months in orbit exploring new scientific frontiers. And let's see, this, I believe I don't know if they linked the video to this article or not. No, it doesn't look like it. But I'll include this article, of course, as I include all the others down there in the description. But let me see if I can actually pull up just a little bit of that video. Oh, why is that way over there? I wasn't prepared. I meant to do that. I meant to actually bring up a video of NASA's Crew 11. It should just come right up. We'll see. Let's see, streamed 8 hours ago. Yeah, let's do this one. We're not going to watch all 8 hours. Don't forget. Calm down. Calm down. Closed captions. Oh my God, that's a little loud, isn't it? Holy cow. We don't need all that. I just want to get to the good parts. Oh, cool. See, I had missed all this. I didn't see this. I caught it like 2 minutes before liftoff, so I didn't actually see them strapping them in and all that fun stuff. And what was kind of irritating was that they didn't show the astronauts for the entire time that they were launching.
And within 6 hours, we were coming down.
There's some Russians.
Walking off the jet.
All right, come on, let's get to the good stuff. Where's the boom goes the dynamite part?
For launch.
Where's it at? Where's it
And
at?
You heard it there from the
Here we go. Here we go.
of the Dragon Endeavour. They
What?
are go for
What's that
launch.
all
We are
about?
continuing to march towards a launch in 58 minutes.
Staging areas, lots of things in play. But the best news is that both Dragon and Falcon 9 continue to be healthy.
All
You
right.
heard us wrap up stage 2 RP1 loading just after T-minus 20 minutes.
At liftoff, Falcon 9 is
Here we go. Here we go. Here's the magic.
continuing to hear great callouts over the nets.
Yeah, man, rock and roll.
FTS is armed. Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling.
Uh-oh. Oh, we got less than a minute. Skip up a little bit. Uh-oh.
T-minus
8.
10, 9,
Nuh-uh.
8,
5.
7,
Not 7. 4. 3.
5, 4, 3, 2,
2.
1. Mission. Engine's full power and liftoff.
Oh, yeah!
NASA,
Woo!
through 11.
Rock and roll. Rocket Man.
Heads up to the International Space Station.
Heading up to the International Space Station.
1.7 million pounds of
Stage 1
thrust.
propulsion is nominal.
Propelling
That's a
Falcon
lot of
9
thrust.
as the vehicle pitching down range and making its way up the East Coast. And
Oh,
will
yeah.
soon join Expedition 73 aboard the orbiting laboratory. So far,
Heading
getting
up
good
to the
call-outs on
orbiting
that first stage
laboratory,
performance.
the International Space Station. Roll, roll,
We are
roll.
now T plus 35 seconds into the Crew 11
Already almost
mission
3
on board Dragon
kilometers
and
in altitude.
Falcon 9.
1.7 G-force. That's not
the
too
Falcon
bad.
9 engines
Stage 1 throttle down.
are
1.4.
throttling down to help
Power and telemetry are nominal.
Dude, that'd be a
to help
smooth
pass
ride,
through
man.
the
Only
period
1.
of max Q or maximum
1 Gs.
aerodynamic
I didn't
pressure
see
on
how
the
much it
vehicle
was when
during
they lifted
ascent.
off.
Max Q.
Probably a little heavy.
We just
Yeah.
had max Q right there.
I love rocket launches, man.
Falcon 9 is
4 human
supersonic.
beings on this one. Most of the ones that I watched, they only have like Starlink and satellites
1
and
minute,
shit like
9
that.
seconds into what is a little bit more
Stage 1
less
throttle
than
up.
a 9-minute flight uphill.
Thanks to SpaceX, we
As
don't have to
Dragon
rely on the
continuing.
freaking Russians anymore. Thanks to Obama retiring the space shuttle program, which was gargantuanly expensive.
That one
Hey, I got
Bravo
to use
again, that's the
gargantuan.
abort zone, that last abort zone for stage 1 if necessary. The crew
All right,
already
all right. I don't want to
The
get
first
too hung
stage
up
has
on
a
it.
couple events
but
ahead
I
of
do
its
wanna see
landing.
this-
Stage
this one
will
actually
start its
lands.
entry burn, which will be the second of 3 burns to beginning
Heading back
of
down.
entry burn
Yeah, I
right
see
there.
it. Fired it. Re-entry
Again,
burn.
this is the second of 3
me
burns
full
to
screen
return
this.
the booster to landing.
There we go.
zone
That's a
orbit.
little better. I want to get a little bit too ahead. Too ahead.
minutes
Look at
left
this.
of a powered
It's heading
flight
into the
remaining, still
clouds.
receiving those great calls from the crew on the ground and
Come
getting
clouds.
those relays from Crew 11 Commander Zena Carden.
Stage 1 transonic.
We are now very quickly approaching the start of our landing burn, where
Very
3
quickly.
engines 1, 5,
Look at this.
and 9
Altitude's down
will
here.
relight to help slow the
3.876.
vehicle down just
Getting
before
closer.
it touches down on
Through the
landing zone
clouds.
1.
Heading
We
back
should
to
hopefully have some
Florida.
great tracking shots of that.
Stage 1 landing.
Yeah, it was cool. Did you see those fins traveling through
We
the
should
clouds
hopefully
there?
before it touches down
Check this out right here.
on
Look at this.
landing zone 1. We should hopefully have
that's
some
cool,
great
man.
tracking shots of that.
Stage 1
I'm such a
landing burn.
fucking nerd.
Stage 2 FTS is
5, 4, 3. Here it
Stage
comes.
1 landing leg deployed.
That's so cool. That never gets old. Boom.
Fantastic return there of the stage 1 booster.
Celebrate.
Final plan landing at LV.
Celebrate.
Another
So a successful landing
Very
of the
cool.
first stage
Very, very
booster
cool.
as we continue to follow along
As
with
they
a little
keep
less
on
now
going.
than
So
1
stage
minute.
2 separation happens here.
Earlier
Let's check out the stage 2. I didn't miss it, did I?
there we
Oh, no,
just,
I didn't. Oh, yeah,
heard
yeah.
that. Good
Yeah,
call
here we
for
go.
Seiko or Seki.
There we go. Stage 2 separation.
a good look inside the trunk there as you're looking for that separation, but you
Yep,
want to hear
stage
that
2, it's gonna
nominal
crash in the
orbital
Indian Ocean.
insertion as
Or what's
Crew
left
11
of it after it
now
burns up
has
in the atmosphere.
Reached microgravity.
So now we'll continue to
Microgravity.
coast for
Look how fast
a
they're
little
going.
bit,
27,000
after Seiko
kilometers
to
per
allow
hour.
rates and motion from the burn to
This is
settle
what,
out.
about 17,000, give or take, maybe, miles an hour?
Right now, we have a great view on our screen of the Dragon heat shield, actually.
There it goes.
Which is made up of similar materials. And there we have
Separation.
that Dragon and Stage 2
As it slowly
separation.
falls back to Earth.
As we see Dragon coast into its orbit.
Very cool. So yeah, that's going to slowly descend back into the atmosphere where it's going to burn up.
On board.
The vast majority of it's going to burn up.
Safe.
And what's left of it's going to splash into the ocean.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to ground.
As they all do.
Tina, Mike.
They don't
Amia,
recover those
Oleg,
because they would
welcome
have
to
to
orbit. On
put a
behalf
lot
the
of
entire
heat shielding
Falcon team,
material,
we thank you
and
for flying with Falcon today.
it would require a
and
lot
wish you
more
great
weight
mission.
to try
Dragon
to
will
make
take
those
you from
things
here.
recoverable. So they
Over
just
to launch director for a few words.
they let them splash in the ocean,
On
and
behalf of the
they
launch
don't get them
team,
back.
It's been an absolute honor working with you towards launch today. we
Absolute
wish you well
honor.
on the rest
Oh
of
yeah,
your
they're
mission,
signing off
and we'll be
from
awaiting your
ground
safe
control
return.
or whatever.
Godspeed Endeavor, Godspeed Crew 11,
Godspeed.
and thanks for flying SpaceX.
Amen. Oh man, they're happy. See, they're showing them over here. I can't even remember which channel I was watching. The other channel I was watching, they weren't showing the astronauts inside.
I have no emotion but joy right now. That was absolutely transcendent. Ride of a lifetime.
That's the astronaut talking.
Thank you. This has been an incredible honor. And it's my privilege now to pass us along to Mike with some additional words.
Boy, it's great to be back in orbit again. Thank you to SpaceX and
Lucky
NASA to get us here. What a ride.
Thank you for flying SpaceX.
Zena and Oleg, let me be
As
the
we dock
second
toward
to
the
welcome
International
you to your
Space Station.
first orbit around beautiful planet Earth.
It's a beauty.
Okayeri Nasai, welcome back.
Beautiful planet.
And to
We'll
the
never find
ISS
another one like her.
Expedition 73 team.
All right, so they're going to show.
I'm
Let me just skip just a little bit up here.
Turn
So
that
we
group into a full group of 11. So only
All
fitting
right, where
for
is
crew
it?
11.
To
Did
summarize
I miss
where
it?
we
I
are
was trying to
with
catch
vehicle
the
activations,
map.
We've had nominal dehumidifier activation and service section.
Here we go.
View.
Yeah, so it launched here, and it's currently there. It's going to head over Ireland, the UK, and down by Italy and all that. And then it's just going to orbit around. But the space station's the blue one. So it's not lined up. So it's going to take a couple days of orbiting before it can get to the point where it's lined up, and then they can finally catch up to it and slowly dock with it. So it's not like they're going to dock with it in 2 hours or anything. It's actually kind of a long process. But anyway, that was fun. That was good. Good times. Was lucky enough to catch that today. So yeah, if anybody else caught that, I mean, I'm sure that you share the same excitement. But yeah, dude, there was like 300,000 or 400,000 people that were watching that live on X today. There's a shitload of people watching that live earlier. But I was like, I caught it a couple of minutes before, but I'm not a huge fan of watching videos on X. I mean, personally, I kind of prefer YouTube because you can adjust the quality up better. Maybe with premium, maybe if I get like the premium X, perhaps maybe it'll let me adjust the resolution, but it also wouldn't let me go back. You couldn't go back a couple of minutes. So, but at least on YouTube you could, but I don't know, maybe it's just me. So let's move on from that. From the GOP, this is an epic fail from the GOP. If you're ever looking for a post made by the GOP, which involves them essentially slipping on a banana peel, here's one for you. The one big beautiful bill will drive the return of the great American car, making automobiles great again. So what's wrong with this picture? I mean, it's Trump doing the YMCA dance, and he's got this yellow car, old-fashioned car. Looks like maybe the 70s or something like that. But that doesn't look like an American car, though, does it? No. It's because it's not an American car. Let's see what readers added context. The car pictured behind President Trump is a stock image of a Russian, Soviet-made VAZ-2101, better known as the Lada 1200. It is not an American-made car. Uh-oh. So they kind of screwed that one up. And I'm sure the Democrats are just eating that up so joyfully, so gleefully. Let's just check a couple of the comments here. Grok, is the car in this photo a Lada 2105, Soviet-made Russian car? Yes. Yes, it is. Well, anyway, I said it should have been a Tesla because they're the most American-made vehicle on the road, though they're not 100% made in America. Let's see. To the guy managing this account, you had one fucking job. You used a Russian car, moron. Fire the guy who used that picture of a non-American car for this specific post. I'm sure it was very intentional. Uh-oh. The GOP, whoever created this idiotic post, should be fired on the spot. Fire the intern. This is a Soviet Union car from the 20th century. I mean, that's kind of sad. I don't know if it is an intern that's actually running the account. I say that's kind of sad because we just had National Intern Day just yesterday. Literally just yesterday was National Intern Day. Or was it the day before? It might have been the day before. I don't know, man. This week went really fast. So, yeah, that was kind of hilarious to see that. And it's still up. They didn't even take it down. Now, it was posted. Well, no, it was posted within 24 hours from the time that I started this video. So, because I try to keep all the posts within 24 hours, trying to keep these posts as recent as possible. So, anyway, we'll move on from that fun stuff. So, from DoD Rapid Response to our warfighters and the American taxpayers, this is what we did this week. So, we're going to check out and see what the Department of Defense was up to during this week.
Hello everyone, I'm Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson, and welcome to the DoD's Weekly Situation Report. This week, the Department of Defense was busy returning the warrior ethos to our military, righting the wrongs of the previous administration, and making life better for our warfighters. This week, Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll ordered West Point to restore the school's crest on the Bibles at the West Point Cadet Chapel, reversing a Biden-era decision to not include the crest when replacing the Bibles.
I'm going to get fucking copyrighted, aren't I?
The chair of the West Point Board of Visitors to conduct a full review of the Academy's hiring practices and stopped outside groups from selecting Academy employees or instructors. The department is proud to share that this week, Fort Hood, named after World War I hero Colonel Robert Benjamin Hood, was unveiled. The ceremony took place at Fort Hood in Texas, and those in attendance paid respect to Hood's dedication to service and his extraordinary courage during his time in the Army. Also this week, DoD policy highlighted Secretary Hegseth's department-wide review of the AUKUS initiative. The department's assessment of this defense pact between the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia will ensure it aligns with President Trump's America First approach. The review is anticipated to be complete this fall. And finally, starting today, the Department of Defense will have a fully operational hotline to assist service members with moving trouble during this PCS season. Just call 1-833-MIL-MOVE MIL-MOVE for assistance. This effort was only made possible due to Secretary Hegseth's quick action, giving the Joint Task Force the authority and the resources to consolidate all the experts and military service representatives in one place to ease the burden that comes with a military move. We're making life better for our warfighters and their families. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you all, and God bless this great country we call home.
That's all we got from the DoD. There you go, U.S. Department of Defense. This a little bit bigger, get back to my 200%. So the next one from Secretary Linda McMahon. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, the tide is turning on college campuses. Wagner College, yet another one added to the list. The center of the USA fencing controversy has admitted it was in violation of Title IX and will no longer allow men to compete in women's sports. So yet another one was added to the list. There's been several, and I just learned yesterday that they yanked the title away from Leah Thomas. Good. So let's move on to U.S. Fleet Forces celebrating 143 years of Navy diving excellence. From salvage to special operations, Navy diving has advanced integrated deterrence across every domain and strengthened security through unmatched undersea capabilities for 143 years. Now, I don't know if this is... It's only 9 seconds, so not sure how much we're going to get out of it, but I guess we'll give it a watch. Navy diving birthday! All right, cool, man. That's cool, that's cool. All right, now let's see where we're at for the next one. From Senate Democrats, Trump's tariffs are nothing more than a 2,400 tax on the American people. Quote, the chickens are coming home to roost on Donald Trump's destructive trade war, and the American people are paying the price. From Chucky Chuck Schumer. Let's see what he has to say.
Tariff Day is here again.
Oh, from CNN. Of course it's
escalating
CNN.
His trade war with the world by announcing historic tariffs on more than 5 dozen countries.
Sweeping import tax rates ranging from 10
MSDNC.
to 50% paid by U.S. importers and often passed on to consumers, potentially leading
Often.
to higher prices on everything from orange juice and coffee from Brazil to iPhones made in India.
We're hearing from Adidas, Walmart, Procter & Gamble, Nike, Ralph Lauren, Mattel saying, get ready, we're going to raise prices. We're now tariffing products that
Nike, Ralph Lauren, Mattel. You mean like companies we really don't need that badly?
we don't even make in the United States. You just mentioned it with coffee. Talk about apparel. This is going to be a huge tax
Well, then they should be growing the coffee in Hawaii. How about
on
that?
U.S. businesses that are going to end up shrinking and U.S. consumers that are going to end up paying more. This is not a positive for America.
The chickens are coming home to roost on Donald Trump's destructive trade war, and the American people are paying the price.
Well, I think that's already starting to backfire because we haven't really seen much raising in the form of consumer goods. I mean, Tide, they announced that they were raising prices, but there's a lot of other ones. You don't have to buy Tide. You could buy Gain. You could buy Downy. You could buy all kinds of shit. I don't know. But if things get expensive or certain products get expensive, you'll just have to look for something else. But things might get expensive in the short term. I know that stocks apparently are starting to take a hit in regard to the tariffs coming into play. So I'll just take a look. It fell 542. I mean, it's not drastic. Let's see. Let's do 5 days. Yeah, it took a little bit of a dive, but it's still at 43,000. I mean, would you believe that in 2009 that the Dow was only at like 6,400? Hey, look at this shit. It was like, or maybe it was 873. I thought it fell further than that. But yeah, regardless, I mean, 7,300 February 20th, 2009, and now it's at 43,588. Ludicrous, man, ludicrous. Companies got insanely rich thanks to COVID. That whole COVID season bullshit. I don't know. I don't think tariffs are going to have that big of an effect, but I guess we'll just have to see. I apparently Democrats have a crystal ball. All right, so moving on to J.D. Vance. I was told 6 months ago that Americans losing jobs and the foreign-born gaining jobs was an irreversible demographic fact. Turns out you just needed a new president and a new immigration policy. So that's in response to Geiger Capital. Holy shit. I thought this was a typo. In the last 4 months, native-born Americans have gained 1.8 million. Come on, let's go. 1.8 million jobs. Meanwhile, 1.5 million foreign-born workers, legal and illegal, lost a job. A sharp reversal of the last few years. Yeah, pretty sharp indeed. Especially, just coming out of the COVID thing. So it was kind of on par by the time it reached just a little bit before 2020, it was like pretty much right at 2022, maybe December or so. And it's grown relatively substantially since then. The employment level of foreign-born. Now, the native-born, it's moving a little. I mean, it's not really gone up a whole heck of a lot, but it definitely looks like it's been trending up since Trump got back into office. So, good news. That's good news. More jobs, man, more jobs. And I'm sure that number's only going to keep going up as more money keeps pouring in, more countries keep investing hundreds of billions of dollars into America. All right, so from DNC Research, CNN, the Democrats' brand is in the basement. I was looking forward to this. I haven't watched it yet, so I've got high hopes for it.
Democrats at this point are historically divided. It is a complete and utter mess. It is messier than a hoarder's basement. What are we talking about here? The national early poll leader, 25% plus. Normally, that's where Democrats are. Biden was at 25% plus in 2020. Hillary Clinton was in 08 and 16. Gore was in 00 and 04. At this particular point, there is no one in the Democratic race for president who's polling at 25% plus. The water is quite warm. If you're a Democrat potentially thinking about running in 2028, jump right in. Because at this point, there is no front runner.
Wow.
What do you think?
What? Because they're all insane.
How people view the Democratic Party right
now,
is that contributing to this?
Yeah, I think that is in large part of what's going on, is one of the reasons why there is no front runner. Nobody wants to put anybody up at the top of their ballot list.
Dude, I can't remember who it was. Some big pollster, or it might have even been CNN. They polled a whole bunch of Democrats, like thousands of Democrats, and they asked them, who is the front runner? Who do you consider to be the leader or the front runner of the Democratic Party if you had to pick one Democrat? The most often name that came up was AOC. I was laughing my ass off when I heard that. I was like, are you fucking kidding? Is that really all the Democrats have? They've just got AOC.
Is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is
Fucking
in the basement.
yikes.
It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater.
Because
CNN,
they're
26
brain dead.
points underwater. Gallup, 26 points
insane.
underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be
No, it's not. It's because they're complete lunatics. It's because that they're pro illegal immigration. They're pro Hamas. I mean, come on, let's call it for what it is. That is what they are. They're pro freaking Hamas. And then they've got crowds of protesters that are breaking tons of laws, rioting and looting. And then they've got queers for Palestine, and it's just a bunch of lunacy. It's absolute just low IQ lunacy. And they just keep doubling down and doubling down. And they're just throwing common sense completely out the window because fuck Trump. And that's it. It's crazy. And it's only getting worse. They're not reversing course. So, I mean, I know that they pretty much run the show when it comes to the major cities, the vast majority of our major cities. So, and of course, they've had control over our public education system for quite a while. But there's still a lot of young Americans that are going toward the conservatives and the Republicans. So we'll have to see. I really think that Republicans really have got to figure out the housing situation, and also with regard to vehicles costing as much as they do. Those are typically the two biggest assets that an American will ever own / invest in or whatnot. And with these younger Americans coming up with Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're becoming adults, or they're on the way to becoming adults. And if a house is going to cost $500,000, they're not going to have a slim chance in hell. Most of them are not going to have any chance of owning a house. And Republicans really got to try to figure out how to fix that problem, because Democrats, they're talking a lot about that, but Republicans, it is all crickets, at least from what I've seen. And if you disagree, just drop a comment. Let me know. Anyway, so USGS, the USGS has released a first-of-its-kind topographic map designed specifically for hikers, climbers, and outdoor explorers. Whether you're scaling peaks or discovering hidden trails, these maps are your ultimate adventure guide. I like topographic maps. It shows the elevation and all that. It's fun. I've always been into maps. Maps are cool. So adventure awaits. USGS releases detailed topographic maps designed for recreational use. So let's see how easy it's going to be to find these, because I looked at this on my phone, but I didn't actually go to the site itself. It actually didn't appear to be that easy to find where they were. So let's see. Right here it says ready to hit the trails. Check out the new maps. Start planning your next adventure. I assume that's where we're going from here. And let's see where this takes me. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. It's so you can just zoom in from way out here. Really? Oh, this is cool, man. I mean, I could go to where I live, but we don't have a whole lot of elevation in Florida. I don't know. I'm just... Yeah, that's... Yeah, I'm not... That's stupid. Why am I going here? That's ridiculous. Here, let's check out the Appalachians. Let's check out the Smokies. Yeah, let's go to the Smokies. Love the Smokies. I'm just curious. Oh, yeah, dude, check that out. They do. They do have the elevation lines drawn out. That's cool. And won't zoom in crazy close. Let's see. I don't know. Let's click on this one. Is it going to take me there? Next. Display grid. So it'll let me get rid of the grid. Let's full screen that. What's happening here? What's going on? Oh, look at that. That's cool. They've got it gridded like they're Knoxville, Fontana Lake, Cleveland. Let's do Fontana Lake. Boom. Let's see what it does. What's it going to do? All right, now what? Oh, you can edit? I don't get it. Custom select. Oh, you can print it too in a PDF? All right, maybe I should just play with this on my own time. Obviously, I'm missing something here. There's something that I'm not doing. Now, what's it doing there? Uh-oh. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I'm ignorant when it comes to using the USGS's maps. So I'm not I'm not a very good candidate for trying this out, obviously. But anyway, yeah, if you want to play around with it, the topographical map with the USGS, and it's got the whole country. I mean, it has to. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's got the whole country. I'm just going to go to some random spot. Yeah, see, there you go. Elevation 6250, 6,000 feet, 5,800 feet there. This is cool. 1,200 feet. It's all 3D looking. 8,400. Warm Springs Creek. Oh, yeah, here you go. Sawtooth National Forest. Little Smoky Creek. So the purple, is that a trail? Actually, these might be trails here, right? Pine Creek, South ATV. Little Smoky Creek. Oh, that's cool. They even have the wetlands, swamp, wetlands. Those icons for that. Oh, yeah, this is cool, dude. I could spend hours just scouring all over the place. National Forest, Development Road. Lightning Creek. NFS, yeah, that's another road. Willow Creek. I'm assuming that's a trail, the purple. Where's the key? They don't have a key here. I'm sure there's got to be one around here somewhere. I'm sure I'm just not seeing it. But all right. I'm going to back out of that. But anyway, that looks like a lot of fun to play with. So I'll link that down below if you want to check that out, especially if you're going out to the national parks or even a state park. You can get some pretty legit maps on your phone because it'll work on your phone. I don't know if they actually have an app, like the USGS has an actual app for that, but they should, which they probably do. All right, so let's move on to the White House. August 1st, President Donald Trump signs an executive order modifying reciprocal tariff rates, resetting decades of failed trade policies. America first. It is official. He got it signed. Modifies reciprocal tariffs on countries around the world. That is a massive win. Not all of them are going to effect. As we covered a little bit ago, some of them, they're going to go into effect a week from now. But a lot of them are kicking in. And as the Democrats point out, the stock market's reacting, and they're trying to say that all of our products are going to become insanely unaffordable. The bottles of Tide are going to go up to like $700 and whatever. Fuck off. All right, so anyway, from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Indiana governor announces state boost to federal immigration enforcement. This is from thefederalist.com. And let's see what they have to say about this. Don't paywall me, please. All right. See, it didn't paywall me on my phone when I was going through this earlier. All right, so Republican Governor Mike Braun announced on Friday, Indiana will assist on multiple levels with federal efforts to enforce U.S. immigration laws after years of exponentially worsening illegal migration affecting Americans nationwide. Quote, Indiana is not a safe haven for illegal immigration. Indiana will fully partner with federal immigration authorities as they enforce the most fundamental laws in our country, the governor said in a statement released minutes ago. And under cooperative agreements with the Trump administration announced on Friday, 4 Indiana agencies will increase their assistance to federal immigration enforcement. The Indiana Department of Homeland Security, Indiana State Police, Indiana Department of Correction, and Indiana National Guard. A new U.S. law passed in July funds thousands more Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, which they're hiring, by the way, and they're offering up to $50,000 sign-on bonuses. So if you know any young men out there, or I suppose young ladies too, they're hiring women as well. You know, that's a good career path to get into, especially if you're physically fit, you want to serve the country, do all that good stuff. You get a hell of a good sign-on bonus right now if you sign up to be an ICE agent. Plus, there's border and customs, and there's customs and border patrol, and pretty much all of them. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's pretty much everybody's hiring at this point with regard to border protection, enforcement. So anyway, the governor's moves. The results of months of work with the Trump administration comes as several top Indiana Republicans have publicly opposed their voters' strong desire for immigration enforcement. U.S. Rep. Marlin Stutzman, Republican 3rd District, recently co-sponsored a bill to end the enforcement of U.S. immigration laws against illegal entrants. State Senator Liz Brown may soon face a primary challenger backed by U.S. Senator Jim Banks for blocking an immigration enforcement bill this spring on behalf of the state legislative leadership. Both houses of the Indiana legislature are controlled by Republicans, as they have been for a very long time. Yeah, Marion County, that's the county in Indianapolis. It's been a blue county for as long as I can remember. I haven't lived in Indiana in many years. I've lived right here in the Sunshine State for 20 years. But I did spend most of my childhood in Indiana, not all of it. I didn't actually start living in Indiana till I was like 5 or 6 years old. And then I graduated from high school, and then I headed straight down here to Florida, and I've been here ever since. So, anywho, that's that. So let's move on to U.S. Trade Representative. The U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer issued a statement following President Trump's issuance of an executive order modifying the reciprocal tariff rates for certain countries to further address the national emergency posed by large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits. Quote, this new trading system will lower the U.S. trade deficit and lead to better outcomes for American workers, their families, and their communities. In the coming weeks, this new system will begin to take shape as the Trump administration works with trading partners on a common path to shared prosperity, Ambassador Jamieson Greer. So I don't think that I'll actually go through it per se, but I'll at least bring it up. So I'll link that as well. So yeah, so that's his statement. Let's see here. That's a little big. But anyway, today is historic. For decades, American international economic policy has been subordinated to the industrial and trade policies of other countries. America had pursued a principle of economic efficiency at all costs, even where it meant the American industrial base was offshored and our workers had to compete against unfair trade. Our trade deficit in goods ballooned to a massive $1.2 trillion in 2024, which reflected a dangerous decline in U.S. manufacturing and manufacturing jobs. So President Trump is reversing all of that. Over the past few months, the president's tariff program and the ensuing Trump round of trade negotiations have accomplished what the World Trade Organization and multilateral negotiations have not been able to achieve at scale: expansive new markets across or access for U.S. exporters, increased tariffs to defend critical American industries, and trillions of new manufacturing investments and purchases of goods that will create great American jobs and help reassert American leadership in key strategic sectors. Man, that was a long sentence. So anyway, that's going to be linked. Ooh, let me back out a little bit. All right. Let's go to the next one. So Triple H. So I'm actually going to kind of correct myself. Not really, but kind of. So if you listened or watched the episode I did yesterday, Trump was doing the presidential fitness, the President's Council on Physical Fitness. He was signing that back in after, I believe it was the Obama administration, or Barack Obama got rid of it. Well, anyway, the guy that was standing next to Trump while he was giving the speech on it, I pointed out to him, and I was like, "Hey, that looks like Triple H." And I was intending on kind of making fun of the guy because he looked just like Triple H. Well, it fucking was Triple H. I just thought that was hilarious. So I just happened to come across this from Triple H, and I was like, "Oh, so it was Triple H." Because I thought at first, because I knew it, I knew it was him, but I didn't really exactly know because it didn't make any sense because they were talking about getting physical fitness back in schools, and I didn't have any idea that Triple H was involved with anything that Trump was involved with. Honestly, I didn't know. So kind of correcting myself on that from yesterday because now I look like the idiot because it was Triple H. But anyway, so He says, honored doesn't begin to describe what this opportunity means. Physical fitness has been a part of my life from a young age and has created the path to support myself and family beyond my wildest dreams. The President's Council on Physical Fitness is a vehicle to get young people active and healthy. Incredibly thankful for the trust reposed in all of the council members by the President, J.D. Vance, Robert Kennedy Jr., Linda McMahon, and Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau. Pro golfer. Cool. Can you tell that I watch tons of golf? I'm all about the PGA. I watch sports all the time. I never watch sports. All right, so from Vice President J.D. Vance, VP Vance urges an increase in law enforcement following violent mob attacks in Cincinnati. Quote, you've still got a lot of blue big city mayors. Maybe they themselves were actually advocating to fund the police, which they were. Pretty much every big city police department is really understaffed. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're very understaffed.
Obviously, we can help this at the federal level, but the most important thing that states and cities can do is to actually solve the law enforcement recruitment challenge that
More
we have.
cops.
So a big part of the
More
story
law and order
in Cincinnati, I assume you're talking about this terrible brawl that happened in southwestern Ohio. You had, basically a woman who was just an innocent bystander who got punched in the face by a grown man. That's being investigated.
Sorry to interrupt, but you really don't have to double the police force or really ramp up the numbers to an absurd degree, really, to just reinstate law and order. You just have to make an example out of these assholes and punish them to the maximum. And a lot of the problem are these idiot judges, which, if I'm not mistaken, they're all elected, aren't they? All the criminal judges in the circuit courts, they're elected. At least here in Florida, they are. So they're just letting people go. They're not even really punishing them. They're giving them a slap on the wrist, and they're just cutting them loose again to just commit ridiculous-ass crimes against everyday people. So what they really just have to do is just start slapping the maximum penalties on all these assholes, so that way people will just be deterred from pulling this shit in the first place.
Hopefully those folks are brought to justice. Just a really disgusting
act
of violence. But part
it's
of the
unbelievable
story
even
there
has to
is
say
there
that.
weren't enough police officers at the Cincinnati Jazz Festival. Why aren't there enough police officers? Because there aren't enough police officers in Cincinnati. And if you talk to
and that's
local
probably
law
true,
enforcement, they'll tell, sometimes you hear heartbreaking stories of a 4th, 5th generation cop who says, I tell my son or daughter, do not go into law enforcement because it's so uncomfortable, because they got attacked so much, especially back in 2020, 2021.
Oh, big time.
And that's just left a really bad hangover. So we've got to get the best and the brightest into law enforcement. I think the most important thing is local governments.
Well, and one of the worst things that ended up happening with that, especially with the big cities like New York, Chicago, LA, was that the conservative cops, the ones who tend to vote Republican or just conservatively minded, the traditional ones, the ones that believe in nuclear families and all that fun stuff, they pretty much left. Maybe not all of them, perhaps not even most of them, but a lot of them did, including the ones who refused to get a vaccine, for instance. They resigned. They just left the force. Perhaps they went to a different city, maybe, or maybe they didn't. But these major cities lost a lot of those good, honest, hardworking cops that are constitutionally minded, for example, and then they've just been left with all these progressive left-wing cops that they just do whatever they told. I'm just following orders, and they just don't really give a shit. They're just doing it for the paycheck, and
you still got a lot of blue,
it's fucking ridiculous.
Big city mayors, people who maybe have some memories of the defund the police moment. Maybe they themselves were actually advocating defund the police. They've got to say, okay, this was a crazy moment. We got to support our local cops, and we got to get good people back into law enforcement, because pretty much every big city police department is really understaffed.
Yeah, that's what they need to do, but they're not doing it. I mean, the dude, what's his face, that dude that's running for New York City, that mayor, the extreme leftist, communist, whatever the hell his name is, he was calling for defund the police up until that shooting happened in New York, which turned out to be the worst shooting or mass shooting in New York City in like 25 years or something like that, I read. And now he's trying to backpedal on that and try to pretend that, oh no, I'm all about law enforcement. We need to get more cops. Supposedly. I don't know if he directly said that. I just read somewhere that he's politically trying to walk that back, because now everybody's calling for not only gun control in New York, but they're also calling for more cops as a result of that. So this comes from the CDC. Welcome to our new director, CDC Monarez, we look forward to your leadership in preventing disease, addressing global health threats, and advancing POTUS's and Secretary Kennedy's mission to make America healthy again. Read the full press release. So, CDC Director Susan Monarez. And obviously her account was just activated. She's only got like 600 followers right now. So she might have not even posted to it yet. But yeah, so Secretary Kennedy swears in Susan Monarez as the CDC Director to advance Make America Healthy Again agenda. And I will link that below for you. I won't get into it at least not right now, because I still got some other stuff to get into. And I think we're a little over an hour right now, aren't we? Yeah, I think I'm a little over an hour so far. So, all right, so let's move on to Senate Republicans. How the one big, beautiful bill delivers for all Americans. Now, I know we've heard a lot on the big, beautiful bill. That's all they've been talking about since July 4th, especially Republicans on their social media accounts. They've been just bragging about it till the cows come home. But this one, I like this image because it itemizes some things that maybe you didn't know about. So I'll go ahead and read it from the top. So $10,000+ in a boost in take-home pay for a typical working family. Also $1,500+ in annual savings for overtime and tipped workers. And 1 million jobs for rural and distressed communities via Opportunity Zone expansion. Also, $12.5 billion to fix and modernize air traffic control systems. Yeah, they're hard at work on that. That was something Pete Buttigieg was supposed to do, but he didn't fucking do that. Also, 40 million plus families will benefit from a permanent increase to the child tax credit. 2 million family farms protected from excessive taxation. And a 15% tax cut for Americans earning $15,000 to $80,000 a year. That's a win. 91% of taxpayers will benefit from keeping the doubled standard deduction, and 100% expensing for new Made in America manufacturing. Hell yeah. Also, 16,000 new border security personnel. They're hiring, man, $50,000 bonus, or up to $50,000. And also, it funds at least 1 million annual deportations. I know we need a lot more than 1 million, but I guess a million's a start. When they throw out numbers like we got 20 million, 30, 40, I've read 50 million illegal immigrants. I don't know if you can get rid of that many, but hopefully they'll be able to round up as many as they possibly can. I mean, they're starting with the criminals. They're all criminals if they enter the country illegally, but they're trying to nab all the big ones, the gangbangers and the felons and the repeat offenders and all of them. So, yep, one big, beautiful bill put into action. Also, let's go to United States Trade Representative. President Trump is using tariffs as an economic tool to reduce our trade deficit and restore U.S. manufacturing to maximize benefits for American workers and industries. POTUS and his trade team continue to establish a new global trading system to benefit the American people.
Well, remember, the president's goal here is to reduce the trade deficit and to reshore manufacturing and to really use tariffs as a tool of trade policy and economic policy like it's meant to be used. And so with some of these countries, it makes the most sense to open their market while retaining a tariff. Some of the countries, they've made commitments to invest in the United States and to provide investment funds or facilities for the president to use to invest in the United States. Most of the countries are committing to purchases. And so he's really just country by country going through, and he's hitting the sweet spot with each one and what's going to be the best way to get down the deficit, maximize benefit for the United States and American workers. And
all right, so according to this, it says that Trump's new tariff rates are going to take effect on August 2nd or 7th. And the reciprocal tariffs, I believe, are the ones that took effect today. So from CBP, 400 plus guns, nearly 1,000 gun parts, and 50,000 plus rounds of ammunition. CBP officers at the port of Houston, Galveston, are stopping weapons from being smuggled into nations like Honduras, where they get into the hands of gangs and fuel chaos and violent crime. And this is on cbp.gov. And let's start here. For more information. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers from the area port of Houston, Galveston, stationed at the seaport, continue to seize large numbers of firearms, many of which are smuggled southbound to dangerous nations such as Honduras. These weapons shipments could fuel chaos and contribute to escalating violence and instability in regions already grappling with security challenges. In the past 2 years, through June 2025, CBP has seized over 400 handguns and long arms, nearly 1,000 magazines and gun parts, and nearly 52,000 rounds of ammunition. The attempted smuggling of these guns and individual parts is often done by masking them within shipments of otherwise legitimate goods in shipping containers headed to sea. I just realized I still had that on full screen. So these CBP enforcement efforts highlight our ongoing mission to disrupt transnational criminal activity while providing law enforcement counterparts with intelligence that can lead to identification, arrest, and prosecution of individuals working as part of these global criminal networks. Quote, CBP's core function is to keep Americans safe by ensuring that weapons and terrorists do not enter the United States, said CBP Area Port Director Thomas Mann of Port Houston Galveston. Quote, we will remain vigilant in our mission to prevent the illegal import or export of firearms and other contraband that can fuel violence and instability abroad, and these seizures are a testament to the dedication and expertise of our officers who work tirelessly to protect our borders and communities. So then they have examples of different firearm seizures, which they list here. So there you have it. So let's go to the next one from the US Census Bureau. Total construction activity for June 2025. Look at this. $2,136 billion, or $2.136 trillion, which was 0.4% below the revised May 2025 estimate, which was $2.143 trillion. And there's an image of that with the graph here in billions of dollars. So, yeah, I mean, it's down a little bit, but that's a lot of construction. It's a lot of construction spending. That is some heavy, heavy numbers. So from June 2025, and so the black line is total amount, the blue is private, and the green is public. So yeah, so a lot of construction dollars going out from the federal government. So there you have it. Private construction, $889 billion. Looks like total one. Let's see. Oh, so last year in 2024, it was almost right at $1 trillion. So what's up? All right, let's go. Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. I was trying to figure out what his last name was. I don't know Democrats too well. People's voices are being squeezed out of our democracy. I'm calling on my Republican colleagues to bring voting rights legislation to the floor immediately. This is a fight that is too urgent to wait until the next election. So, all right. I mean, I think that's kind of hilarious because the whole voting rights thing, I mean, like the Republicans, they've been all about voting rights and, well, I mean, trying to fortify our voting system more specifically. Are you willing to bring that to the table, Senator Reverend? That perhaps we should get back to paper ballots and also insist on showing ID when we vote. I mean, after all, you're calling for, getting voting rights established and all that. I think that we should fortify our election system. I think every American should have every right to vote, as they do, obviously. But let's be real. What's he really talking about? He wants the illegals to vote. That's what he really wants. He wants the illegals to vote. These are the voting rights we want. From Larry Bruce. Voter ID. Yeah, that's definitely one. Paper ballots, definitely. Proof of citizenship. In person, no mass mail-in. Absentee for military, disabled, and verified inability to be at a polling place. Also, smaller precincts and a national holiday. Absolutely. Results by 9 p.m. and winners announced by midnight. I'd be curious to know how many different countries, if they call a national holiday for their election day. I'm just curious to know that. Just curious. Oh, come on, Google. You're supposed to give me... Oh, yeah. Here, let's see. You got the stupid AI mode. How many countries make a national holiday for election? Practice of making election day a national holiday is observed in several countries around the world. Israel and North Korea, Singapore, France, Mexico, India. Election aims to facilitate voter participation and, in some cases, celebrate democracy itself. So, I'm sure there's a lot more countries than that. Google, they're just I don't know if they're intentionally trying to be a little vague with the answer or if they're just trying to keep it simple for me. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, there's other countries. I mean, India. India is the most populated country on the planet. Number one, surpassed China earlier this year. It's number one. And China's population keeps sliding. But regardless, I mean, these huge countries, they make it a national holiday so everybody can go out and vote. Honestly, I'm surprised that Democrats aren't calling for that. Maybe it's because more Republicans go to work. And maybe they just count on Republicans not showing up because they're just busy working all day. All right, so from Glenda Goodness, pass the SAVE Act. Democrats are lying about the SAVE Act. And then next one, Tom MAGA, democracy? I think that's your problem. You don't even know where you live. Get that straight and you might figure it out. I doubt it. Let's see. How did you become a senator not knowing that we are a constitutional republic? You're pathetic. Nobody's voices are being squeezed out. Someone voting for the losing candidate means their voice was heard. It just didn't win. Yeah. You're fishing for rhinos willing to pay for illegal votes to keep the corruption going. I'm calling on Georgia's 2 installed senators to resign and confess to a stolen election. I know they want, but karma always comes around, even if it's spinning entirely in hell, which they can avoid by deeds, but not propaganda, in my opinion. What's yours? All right. Oh, this guy's got all his badges up here. Well, I don't know. He's got Israel up there. He's got the Ukraine flag up there. I mean, that usually signals that that he's a progressive. But anyway, excuse me, Mr. Right Honorable Self-Important Reverend of using God as a crutch for your pseudo-religious bourgeois. But this, quote, fight can be put on hold for other, more pressing initiatives. Save your posturing rigor for future grandstanding. Thank you kindly. I like that post. Dude's got a good way of words. With words. Pass HR 22 SAVE Act. Demand voter ID now. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, you're bringing up voting rights. You're bringing up the voting system. I mean, you really want to go down that road? And this is why Democrats are at their historic lows. This is why they're only at a 19% approval rating. That's why, as CNN displayed earlier that we just saw, that not a single Democrat appears to have any favorability over 25%. It's because of bullshit like this. It's ridiculous. Look, these lawsuits are on their way. You've given us no choice. You stole $107 billion of our taxpayer money to support illegal aliens. You've given them our benefits, our taxpayer money. You op-ed the border. You refuse to deport or self-deportation. It's treason. You are all felons. Yeah, man, hell of a comment. I'm going to give him a little heart for that one. All right. So let's move on to the FRA. Saving taxpayers over $26 million. The FRA has officially canceled the SCAMAGLEV project. The FRA has determined the project would result in unresolvable impacts to federal agencies and federal property, including national security agencies, significant community opposition, and tremendous cost overruns. You can read the whole press briefing here. So President Trump's Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy cancels $26 million in funds for the doomed DC-Baltimore maglev. Okay, maglev boondoggle. This was that. This was the magnetic thing, right? Like it was like supposed to be some high speed, like levitating train or something crazy. Let me just see. Yeah, magnetic something. All right, let's bring this up a little bit. So US DOT's Secretary Sean P. Duffy today announced, the Federal Railroad Administration will cancel 2 grants totaling $26 million for the Baltimore-Washington Superconducting Magnetic Levitation Project. Okay, that's what I thought. After nearly a decade of poor planning, significant community opposition, tremendous cost overruns, and nothing to show for it, Secretary Duffy is ending federal involvement in the project and its cost to taxpayers. I wonder how much money that they've dumped into it so far, though. I mean, look at this. The estimated capital cost to build this project is nearly $20 billion. It's just as retarded as the stupid high-speed rail project that they had over in California. Still haven't laid a single rail. None. I don't know how long a single, whatever those those I-beam rails, they haven't laid a single one over in California, and it's already went up into the tens of billions of dollars that they've dumped into that. No rails at all. So yeah, anyway, so they're putting a stop to that. That's a good thing. I'm glad they're doing that. because it's ridiculous. All these stupid pet projects that Democrats and probably rhinos, I'm sure that there were some Republicans that were signing on with that too. It wouldn't surprise me. So let's move on to the CBP. Big changes are here for low-value shipments entering the U.S. These new rules level the playing field for American businesses and ensure all imports are treated equally under the law. So, duty-free de minimis update. The executive order on suspending duty-free de minimis treatment for all countries puts all businesses on a level playing field, ensuring that imports into the United States are subject to the same rules and that all revenue owed to the United States is paid. Go.dhs.gov, which took us to the whitehouse.gov for all countries. This was actually published on the 30th, so this is a couple days ago. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the National Emergencies Act, and let's see, National Emergencies Act, Section 604 of the Trade Act of 1974 as amended, and Section 301 of the Title III United States Code, it is hereby ordered. In Executive Order 14193, as of February 1st, 2025, I declared a national emergency regarding the unusual and extraordinary threat to the safety and security of Americans, including the public health crisis caused by fentanyl and other illicit drugs, and the failure of Canada to do more than arrest, seize, and detain or otherwise intercept drug trafficking organizations, other drug and human traffickers, criminals at large, and illicit drugs. In that order, I determined that it was necessary and appropriate to, among other things, suspend duty-free de minimis treatment under 19 U.S.C., so on and so forth, for articles described in Section 2A and Section 2B of that order, and Executive Order 14226 of March 2nd, 2025, which is the amendment to duties to address the flow of illicit drugs across our northern border. I paused the suspension of duty-free de minimis treatment on such articles until I received a notification from the Secretary of Commerce that adequate systems are in place to fully and expeditiously process and collect duties for such articles that would otherwise be eligible for duty-free de minimis treatment. So it goes way on. Like, it goes like pretty far. So, that's going to take a hell of a long time to get through, needless to say. But it will be linked. It's down below. You want to check this out? Just you can pause the video, or you can wait till the video's over, and you can scroll on down and you can find it. It'll start with whitehouse.gov. All right, so let's head on down to Homeland Security. In Chile, Secretary Noem signed a letter of intent to expand information sharing under the Biometric Identification Transnational Migration Alert Program. This will help the U.S. identify criminals and terrorists before they even reach our borders. Following the signing, our TSA and HSIHQ teams demonstrated exactly how our data sharing networks and new technology and are protecting the homeland. Make America safe again. And just in case you're wondering, HSIHQ, Homeland Security Investigations. Homeland Security Investigations. And they put a video clip here, so we'll take a quick look at this 48-second clip. Here we go. Oh my God, that's loud. Holy cow. Oh my God. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh man, that's so loud. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. They're so dramatic. Woo. Wow, man, and my apologies if I blew out any eardrums. Holy cow, I didn't think it'd be out that freaking loud. I mean, I don't think any of the other videos were nearly that loud. That was crazy, man. RIP earbuds. All right, let's move back up here to Attorney General Pamela Bondi. Thank you, President McAuliffe, for your leadership and prompt action. Anti-Semitism will not be tolerated in Florida or anywhere else. AAG Dillon, Harmy Dillon, AAG at Civil Rights Justice Department, serving under AG Pam Bondi. Also, the DOJ Civil Rights Division, and Leo Terrell, the chairman of the DOJ Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism and senior counsel at the Justice Department, and my U.S. attorney, Jack Heekin, are investigating this. And this is at Florida State University. So let's see what we're talking about here. Florida State University is actively addressing an altercation between two students that has been widely shared on social media. The FSU Police Department has interviewed the students shown in the video. The matter is being reviewed for potential criminal charges and for charges under the FSU Student Code of Conduct. While this process is underway, the student shown prominently in the video has been prohibited from returning to campus. Our commitment to swiftly and effectively responding to incidents of hate is unwavering. We appreciate the prompt report of this incident, which allowed us to address this instance of anti-Semitism without delay. What, did they already start school or something? I didn't think that anybody would be on campus right now. I mean, we're just now getting in August. Florida State University strongly condemns anti-Semitism in all forms and follows Florida law, which protects Jewish students and employees from discrimination motivated by anti-Semitism, harassment, intimidation, and violence. Support services have been offered to the victim on an immediate and ongoing basis. Other students who need supportive resources are encouraged to reach out to the university's Counseling and Psychological Services Department or to the Department of Student Support and Transitions. So I'm kind of in the dark with regard to this. Not sure what they're talking about. So altercation between two students. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. I was going to type in fight, but I was trying to think like if I should word it more specifically. Let's try media. Let's see if it's in here. FSU fight. Oh, is that what this is here? The 6 seconds? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's under the media tab. They're not going to show me anything else other than that. I'm assuming that's what this is. All right, does it sound good? I think this sounds good. Brace for impact. Yeah, that I'm assuming that's. I'm assuming that individual was attacked, of course. Let's see. I don't know. I guess I'll just check out the top here. Meet Eden Deckerhoff. This is July 31st. She is a graduate student at Florida State University and a violent Jew hater. FSU must expel her. Nothing less is adequate. Stop anti-Semitism. What a piece of shit, man. What the hell is wrong with these people? Fight in the fountain last night. Okay. That was way back in 2023. All right, so that's obviously what they're talking about. Which, I mean, frankly, it's kind of good that they actually didn't show violence in that video, because I kind of forgot for a moment that I'm on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like that stuff. So, but anyway, I mean, that's good that AG Pam Bondi, she actually was made aware of it, and she actually posted about it. So that's certainly going to get eyes on the story. So, all right, let's move on to FBI Director Kash Patel. Oh, that is way too big. All right, so here we go. Good summary of what we at the FBI found and declassified for the first time ever. More to come. So what does he mean by more to come? It sounds like we're going to get some more, possibly more documents. Maybe there were some that may have not been declassified just yet, even though he did say that they declassified all of them. And Chairman Grassley, Chuck Grassley, he said that they were all declassified and made for a immediate public viewing or public release. But anyway, this is from Charlie Kirk. Newly declassified documents from the Durham Report appendix made public by Senator Chuck Grassley indicate the intel community was fully aware of Hillary Clinton campaign plan to falsely tie President Donald Trump to Russia. What we know now, the FBI knew the Russia collusion hoax arose from the Clinton campaign, and then they ignored key intel to cover it up. The Clinton campaign's plan was to use or possibly coordinate with the Obama FBI to accelerate the narrative and leak it to U.S. press outlets. The FBI placed thousands of relevant documents in burn bags for destruction, but Kash Patel found them in a secret room at the FBI. Hillary Clinton approved of that plan to concoct a Donald Trump colluding with Russia narrative in order to distract the public from her use of a private email server. Yeah? Is this jogging y'all's memories? The original DNI report from late 2016 rightly said Russia didn't favor Trump and didn't work to elect Trump, even holding back damaging intel on Clinton. Obama nevertheless ordered a new report be created that tied Trump to Russia. On Obama's direction, Brennan and Clapper manufactured intel and included the Hillary Clinton paid-for Steele dossier in the new report, despite warnings from CIA analysts that it was untrustworthy. Chairman Grassley calls this one of the biggest political scandals and cover-ups in American history. He's right. So that's just one of the pages that they declassified and made for public, or released to the public, rather. May 12th, 2023. That was the date on the document. So, yeah, I mean, we all knew it, though. But it's nice that we have been proven, or at least what we have learned over the years back in 2016. I mean, all of this was being talked about back then. We all knew what they were up to, but it's nice to finally get them caught red-handed. It's black and white. It's right there. The documents are clear as crystal. So hopefully we will see criminal charges come down, because these officials, man, they've got to be made an example of, because if nobody gets prosecuted for this, whether if it's James Comey or Clapper or Clinton or whoever, or all of the above, really. I mean, all of them should be criminally charged and convicted for this and sent to prison. Then they're just going to keep doing it. Because if there's no accountability, if there's no consequences to their actions, why wouldn't they just keep doing this in the future? Of course they will. So, all right, so let's move on to Chuck Schumer. $200 million for Trump's large, fancy White House ballroom. Oh, he's so ass hurt that they didn't come up with this idea. That's what Doge was for. Not to save money for you, to give money for some fancy place for Trump. Oh, my God, Orange Man, so bad. Oh, my God, he's so bad.
You know, it keeps getting worse. Today, Donald Trump and the White House announced they're going to spend $200 million.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait. Oh, no, hold on. $200 million. $200 million. Oh, my God, Chucky.
Ballroom. This is what Doge was all about, folks. Cutting things, taking things away from you, and not giving it to some place that needed it.
He's just mad because Trump's name's going to be on it.
Show Donald Trump at the top of the list. Maybe he can park his new plane in the big ballroom. It's probably...
You see, that's all that they're pissed off about, because this White House ballroom is a permanent fixture of the White House. It's going to be there hundreds of years from now, and historians are always going to be tying President Trump's name to that ballroom, and that's what pisses them off. Frankly, it was probably going to get built, whether if Kamala Harris was in or Hillary Clinton was in or whatever. They wanted to build the ballroom, but they didn't. Instead, Donald Trump decided to get it done. Now, they said it's going to be built quickly, so President Trump's still going to be in office when it's completed. I don't know if it's going to take a year. Maybe it'll take a year, maybe not quite that long. But it's not like he's going to get to enjoy this ballroom for his entire term. It's probably not going to be built until his term is probably more than half over anyway. But he knows what he's doing. He's just playing stupid fucking bullshit political games. He's just being an asshole. I mean, he got 8.2. You know what? Actually, let's check out some of these comments, because they'll probably be kind of funny. At Grok, who is paying for the construction of the ballroom at the White House? I actually know the answer to this. It's not the taxpayers. Spoiler alert. The $200 million White House ballroom construction is funded entirely by President Trump and private donors, with no taxpayer or government money involved, including from Doge, confirmed by official White House statements. How do you like them apples, Chuck Schumer? The taxpayers aren't paying for it. The federal government's not paying for it. President Trump is paying for it. And also private donors, of course, which, they'll get a nice little plaque that's going to be put in there, and their names will probably be tied to that ballroom for generations to come. But, that's what happens when you donate a shitload of money. I mean, they do the same thing at universities. If you donate a certain amount of money, they'll put your plaque somewhere on campus. So last four letters in American, I can. Last four letters in Republican, I can. Last four letters in Democrats, rats. I've never seen that before. That's hilarious. That was a good one. The difference between Republicans and Democrats. Here's my card. Come to my office for a job. Here is $20 to help. Democrats, here's the directions to the shelter. Here's $5 of Trump's $20. The other $15 is my administrative fee. All right. Since Trump is paying for it, I don't see it as being a problem. Yeah, absolutely. You are a dumbass, Chuck Schumer. Of course, they're quoting Grok there. Chuck Schumer lecturing anyone about money is like a raccoon giving investment advice. Sir, your net worth skyrocketed in office. What exactly did you do for us besides insider trading and sucking up to lobbyists? You weren't mad about government spending when it was funding Ukraine's dance team, but suddenly a ballroom sends you into a meltdown? Sit this one out, Chuckles. We know what time it is. Let's see. Chuck, Trump's footing the bill, not the taxpayers. Meanwhile, you're busy funding porn and nonsense with our money. You've got zero room to talk. Sit down and hush. So anyway, yeah. I mean, they're all going to be more or less the same, but with some clever ones peppered in there. So from Senator Rick Scott, it is a scandal. Under Jay Powell, the Fed is expected to waste $1 trillion paying interest on bank reserves, often to foreign banks. It's insanity, which is why Senator Ted Cruz and I introduced the FAIR Act to stop it. Well, stop what? The bank interest. How is this not a scandal? The Fed is still paying over $470 million in interest a day to financial institutions, a huge portion of which aren't even American firms, but foreign institutions. Does this not include the federal deficit? Because with the federal deficit, we're paying $920 billion a year just on the national deficit as it stands right now at $37 trillion. That's how much we have to pay annually. So if it stays the same, we have to pay damn near $1 trillion a year just on interest, which is fucking insane, man. It's absolutely diabolical. So, of course, he's going to direct us to his website. Senators Rick Scott and Senator Ted Cruz lead a bill to stop Federal Reserve from wasting $1 trillion payment interest on bank reserves. So they introduced the Fiscal Accountability for Interest on Reserves, or FAIR Act, to stop the Federal Reserve from paying banks interest on their revenues. In 2024 alone, the Fed paid more than $186 billion in interest payments to banks through this Interest on Reserve Balances program, and is expected to pay out more than $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Not the next year, the next 10 years to banks. You should have been more upfront with that, Rick Scott. It sounded like that they were paying $1 trillion a year. The grossly mismanaged Federal Reserve has been operating at a loss since 2022, with $0 remitted to the U.S. Treasury and back to the American people, while wasting billions on interest payments to banks and multi-billion-dollar building renovations. Congressman Warren Davidson is leading the campaign legislation in the House of Representatives. All right. Well, we'll see if they'll get anywhere with that. But yeah, the Federal Reserve, they're expanding, they're remodeling. It's costing billions of dollars in taxpayer funds. I think it's completely stupid that they're actually doing that. And the Federal Reserve should just look like some regular, normal-ass black and white office building. It should look like some soul-sucking office building where anybody who walks in there just feels just miserable. It's fucking miserable. All right, so from Mark Pocan, Trump can pretend it didn't happen all he wants, but the facts don't lie. He was impeached twice. I know. I was there. And he's all pissed off about the Smithsonian because the Smithsonian, they removed Trump from the impeachment exhibit in the American history portion of the museum. Impeachment exhibit in the American History Museum. Uh-oh. No, I'm not a subscriber. Oh, man, the Washington Post, they're paywalling their bullshit too. Dude, you got me fucked up if you think I'm going to give you a fucking dime, Washington Post. Now, why would they link the Washington Post? I mean, come on. Oh, yeah, that's right, because he's a fucking Democrat. That's why. They love the Washington Post. They love Jeff Bezos. So Senator Cynthia Loomis, I'll bring the Celsius. Let's see. That's in response to Mike Lee. I'm in. Let's do this. And that's in response to Donald J. Trump's True Social account. The Senate must stay in session, taking no recess until the entire executive calendar is clear. We have to save our country from the lunatic left. Republicans, for the health and safety of the USA, do your job and confirm all nominees. They should not be forced to wait. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that's just senators that are echoing in agreement, which, do you really think they're going to do that? Do you really think so? I got a feeling that they're just going to recess. They're going to go on vacation. And they're going to say, well, we got to go home. We have to talk to our constituency. We haven't talked to them in a while. I have to talk to the locals. You know, after all, the state of, insert state name here, they were the ones who voted for me, so I have to go back and do meet and greets and fancy-ass luncheons and all that, this, that, and the other. Do what politicians do. All right, so Congressman Robert Garcia. Donald Trump considering a pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell is horrifying. She has been convicted of sex trafficking. Why or what is he so afraid of in the Epstein files? Release them now. I mean, like I've said, I agree. They should release all the Epstein files. They should. Whatever's there, just release it. I mean, I don't think Donald Trump's in them. I think if he was, I think the Biden administration would have released them. They would have helped out Kamala Harris try to win the election against him. But come on, let's be frank. Like they would have released that way before then. Hillary Clinton would have used that as ammunition against him way back in 2016. So this is just a way for them to distract from the Russia hoax, the Russia collusion bullshit that we caught them red-handed on. And that's just simply what they're trying to do, I think. I think they're just throwing the Epstein name out, which it's getting more and more tired with each passing day. Not that it should fade completely into obscurity. I think they really should release the files. I just think that we should really hit hard on the Russia hoax and try to get some indictments. We'll see what AG Pam Bondi does. But, I mean, should I even play this? This is going to be ridiculous, but whatever. Let's have some fun with it.
Ms. Maxwell is a known liar. She has completely been involved in sex trafficking, been convicted, is serving a serious sentence, and she should not be trusted. And so this idea that somehow Donald Trump is going to...
Well, dude, like you want the files released. Ghislaine Maxwell has all the information. I'm sure that the files probably have more or less because she was the one helping Jeffrey Epstein get all these minors, these poor innocent victims that numbered over 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. Why wouldn't you be okay with the DOJ going and talking to her? Because they're not, as far as I understand, they're not talking about pardoning her. They're not talking about giving her blanket immunity and just letting her out of prison if they just simply talk to the DOJ, which they've already talked to her for at least 2 days now. No, they're offering partial immunity. So that way, if she's going to give up information that wasn't disclosed during her trial, they're not going to hold her criminally accountable for whatever it is that she brings up while they're conversing over the matter. They just want to find out the names and just more information that may have been in these documents that I think the Democrats destroyed. I think the Biden administration destroyed them. And I think that's why they're over there talking to Ghislaine Maxwell to see if they can get any information out of her with regard to these files that we don't have anymore. And Republicans at this point, they probably can't come out and say, well, the files aren't here because they've been destroyed because, you know, the Democrats are going to come out and say, no, they were there when we left office and you're the one that destroyed them. It's all your fault. So I think this is just probably damage control more or less. But I mean, that's really what it boils down to. They're just talking to her and she's given up, from what I've heard, that she's given up 100 names so far. I don't know if we're going to get the names. I assume we will because Pam Bondi, President Trump, they know they got to give us something. So I think maybe they might compile those names. They might release them. Hopefully there's some bombshell names. Hopefully, again, let's be real. We've seen the flight logs. We know the names that are on the list. We already know the names that she's going to be dropping. So, I mean, let's be real. But anyway.
With sex traffickers over the victims, I think it's really, really disturbing. And the fact that we're now hearing more and more folks, family members of victims coming out. Listen, people are incredibly disturbed that Donald Trump is somehow flirting with a pardon. And what's more concerning is we know that his own personal
and who told you that?
Lawyer
anonymous sources told me.
The DOJ is meeting with Ms. Maxwell to possibly have some kind of reduced sentence deal or a pardon. All of that should concern us.
What kind of outfit is that?
When Ms. Maxwell actually testifies in a deposition to the Congress, it's going to be done in a way that's bipartisan. I will be in the room. Others will be in the room to ensure that whatever she says is corroborated by
I'm on board with that.
The files,
I wouldn't argue that.
The release of the files that's in place is so important that it happens here in the next few days. All of the files should be released, and in no scenario should Donald Trump pardon Ms. Maxwell.
All right. I mean, I don't think she should be pardoned either. I really don't. I don't think she should be pardoned. And I actually kind of like his idea. I think they should drag her in front of Congress and have her testify in front of everybody, get her under her oath, and let's hear all the names. Because I got a feeling the majority of the names on there are going to be a bunch of Democrats. So either he's overplaying his hand by suggesting this, or maybe he knows something that I don't know. But I just got a feeling that probably a lot more Democrats or donors or elitists, because elitists, they tend to be kind of progressively minded these days. I think it's probably going to hurt their side more than it's going to hurt Republicans, but what the hell do I know? But anyway, we're going to wrap up with this from Mike Lee. Could this be why the left tried so hard to imprison Trump? From Dan Scavino Jr., they, which are the Dems, thought Trump and those close to him would be in prison by now. That was their end game after a long 9-year journey, but he's back, and the cover-up is unraveling before our very eyes. Buckle up and sleep tight, y'all. You know who you are. Tick-tock. Love it. So I thought that'd be a good one to end on. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what the Department of Justice does. We'll have to see what AG Pam Bondi does. I hope she hands down a shitload of indictments. We're already looking at James Clapper and Jim Comey and Hillary Clinton, fucking Loretta Lynch and everybody, the whole group, every one of them. Barack Obama spearheaded it. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. But anyway, if you like the video, please give the video a like, and please, pretty please subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'm putting out a new one of these every day as I comb through all of the posts, the articles, the video clips, anything and everything that's going on in the DC swamp that I come across. I compile it and I read it and I comment on it Monday through Friday, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to do it over the weekend or not. Maybe I will. Not 100% sure yet, but I'll be doing something tomorrow. I think I might just kind of scroll through everything tomorrow and probably just record as I go. Usually during the day, I'm actually scrolling through my phone and compiling everything throughout the day because, I work. I got a day job, so I can't be doing that for long periods of time, but I think I might do that tomorrow. Just kind of hang out, enjoy some coffee, and scroll through this stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, God bless America.